Alright guys, moving on to our next Patreon request, and as always, if you guys out there would like to send me a Patreon request, just hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon in the link in the description below, and you guys can hit the third tier and start sending me requests for videos to do here on YouTube. But other than that, let's move on to our next Patreon request, and this one comes from Lamanta Benson. Now, Lamanta asked me a very interesting question that I kind of been wanting to talk about for a bit. Like, this has been a subject that I've kind of wanted to speak about, and this just kind of gave me the right leeway to do this. Like, it just gave me the perfect leeway to talk about this particular subject matter. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the fact of, do we end Jurassic Park? Is it time to put the Jurassic franchise to bed? Now, the long and short of it is no. But there is a good argument, there is a very credible argument for making this franchise just kind of get a break. Like, I do think there is a break here. So, what do I think of this? Well, the Jurassic franchise has had a steady decline, where and I understand that, like, Universal doesn't really have an IP to compete with, like, the MCU or Star Wars. And Jurassic Park is really the only one they're trying to do that with. It's like, yeah, Universal doesn't have a lot of franchises that they can really, pull out and make into, like, an MCU thing. Look what they did with the Universal Monsters, and look how bad that shit the bed. And they keep... And it is difficult to see that these movies, the Jurassic Park movies, have, for lack of a better word, just been, Jurassic World I liked, and then Fallen Kingdom happened, and Fallen Kingdom does have its merits, but it's not a good movie. And then Dominion is just awful. Dominion is just fucking god-awful. And I explained in a previous video talking about, like, the real-world implications. I was just trying to talk about, like, the real-world implications that I don't think anyone really brought up. That whole thing of, hey, these animals are, like, megafauna, and our world already can't support the life that we're already killing off. So that was kind of what I was trying to get at, was that it was more about... it was much more about... the scientific implications of how bad that ending was. But still, Dominion just sucked. Like, Dominion just straight up was ass. Now, it did make a lot of money. Not as much money as they wanted it, but it still made a lot of money. And so, it is inevitable that, like, Jurassic Park is going to come back. It's the end of the Jurassic era, so it makes sense that, like, the Jurassic Park franchise is going to evolve. Now, how it will evolve is very difficult to say. That's kind of the big thing we have to look at, is that we need a new direction. Now, Lamanta posed, do we put it to bed, or do we give it a 20 to 30 year break? There's no way in hell. There's no fucking way they're going to give a 20-year break to the Jurassic Park franchise. Even Jurassic World was under 20 years. It was about 14 years. 14 years before they brought it back. So, do I think it could use a little bit of a break? Yes. But knowing that is that studios aren't going to let that major IP go. I think it'll be like a good 5 years before we see another Jurassic World movie. I do think it'll be another 5 years before we get another Jurassic Park franchise movie, whether that be called, like, Cretaceous Planet or some shit. That's hard to say. But I do think that we do know that there's a new animated show. We do know that there is a new animated show in the works. That's all we know, is that they're working on something different. I don't know if it's going to be on Netflix or Peacock or wherever. But the thing of it is that they're not going to just let this franchise die off. They are in no way, shape, or form going to allow this franchise to just end. So they're probably going to let it evolve. Like, pardon the pun, but they are... I do think that the best option here, maybe not do movies, but maybe focus on some new shows, some new content with new people. Get Colin Trevorrow away from this fucking project, from this fucking films, because his pretentious ass has done nothing but, it doesn't even, like, it does feel like Trevorrow has a cool concept, but, like, he has no thought on it. So I think it is high time we get new, some new creative teams behind these new shows, whether they be live action or animated. I've always been the proponent of what I would always like to see in the franchise is, like, you know how, like, in Disney or National Geographic shows, they have, like, behind the scenes looks at zoos. What if you did that during the Jurassic World era and have it be like you can do animatronics, you can have puppets, you can do all of that and make it like, yeah, it's behind the scenes of Jurassic World and how the zookeepers keep the dinosaurs safe, like how they treat the dinosaurs, and maybe give some stuff like that, like some some kind of background information on dinosaurs on a whole, something a little more educational. That would be kind of fun. But yeah, I don't know. Like, it's just been kind of a thought that, like, do I think the Jurassic franchise is going to just die off now? No. It made a lot of money, and it's still a viable IP for Universal Studios. So, no, I don't think it's going to go away. I really don't think that it's going to go away. I don't think it's going to go to bed. It's going to be locked away forever. I don't see that happening in any way, shape, or form. But I do think a break would be necessary. It would be nice. 5 to 6 years before we get another movie. But I think it should be more focusing, kind of copying what Marvel's trying to do. Marvel and Disney with the TV shows, with Marvel and Star Wars. Maybe do some specials on YouTube, like Battle of Big Rock was. Maybe some things like that. But all in all, yeah, 5 to 6 years before we do another movie. 7 tops, like something like that would be kind of interesting. But first things first, let's get through the writer's strike first. But anyway, so you guys tell me in the comments below, do you think Jurassic Park should end, or do you think it should go on hiatus, or do you think it should do other projects in the meantime? Just comment below, let me know, and once again, I'd like to thank Lamonta Benson for this Patreon request. And yeah, like I said, if you guys would like to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon, where you guys can start sending me requests for videos to do here on YouTube. But other than that, I hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time, the Multiverse.